Peace. Happen now. Now's a vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now, I want to speak on counterculture. The whole vibe with what it is, Tavistock Institute. And the whole social engineering. Matter of fact, with the Grateful Dead, with their manager working for Tavistock Institute. You got the Beatles was pushed by Tavistock Institute. A lot of your rock and roll bands, in that little, late 70s, early 80s vibe. Manufactured in Laurel Canyon, Laurel Canyon in LA, the area where the CIA, did and is doing a lot of work. But the whole vibe, matter of fact, and is dealing with social engineering. Social engineering, setting up a certain situation that programs your subconscious on a social level. Like, so, say for instance, where back in the day, I'll say right now, if I want the masses to have a certain mind frame in the future, I'm gonna start popularizing some things right now. And the same thing with what they did with Grateful Dead is like, all right, we're gonna make these little groups, make them the hot thing, so everybody, wanna, listen to them and deal with them, and we're gonna have them giving the messages of what we want to imply. Matter of fact, you add Timothy Leary with the vibes of working for Harvard and speaking on psychedelics, because that's what they basically was doing in essence, was indirectly creating a dystopia where because matter of fact, and that's why I always kind of see why I was disconnected with the hippie vibe, and two, that's why you see like the importance of just knowing what's going on around you in general. You know what I'm saying? Because at one point I used to question myself, like knowing I'm not racist, knowing I'm not I don't suffer from any of worrying about somebody's skin color or this and that, But like at some points I would kind of question myself. I'm like, all right, do I have something against, do I need to reassess, because every time somebody would especially in most cases, it'd be a non-melanated person that would invite me to, a festival or, matter of fact, or the Grateful Dead type of thing. And it's like, for some reason, I always had this vibe of not, not wanting to deal with, and as fun as they, oh man, this is gonna be happening, this, but I could just always feel a funny vibe about it. But the whole thing is to stop, especially because, say, for instance, our government is ruled by racist Europeans. Racist Europeans want to put an end to melanated people. This is facts. So as much as they try, matter of fact, another way to disguise it. Like, they disguise it as their aim of, which to a certain extent, they fucking over everybody. They don't really care what color he is to a certain extent. But it's more so just like a collateral damage. Like, well, whoever get hit with the melanated people, it just is what it is. We put a little memorial on the ground, blah, 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 or whatever. But, it's about oppressing the melanated person. And again, I spoke to, the vibes of, demasculinity. Trying to demasculinize, the men, so you could be able to disrupt the family structure, and get to the woman. But when you look at the hippie vibes, like, oh man, that's, it is like tune in, drop out, like how the little saying go, drop out, this, that, do that, but it's basically like, matter of fact, some social engineering, because matter of fact, social engineering is also creating fads with words, like trying to create this, like, oh, I'm a hippie man and this and that. But basically, well, it's creating a vibe where people just sitting around not really, dealing with no true solutions. Like, just sitting around like ignoring the problems instead of really trying to do something about them, you know. So it's basically trying to pull, you know, again, more so aimed at a young melanated man, you know, to direct his energy at being docile and being demasculinized. You know, and it's facts. You see it in that culture, like it's kind of like trying, and it's a fact that your masculinity, like nothing is wrong with you being masculine, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what you are, you know. You start to see the difference, and two, you start to see the vibe of like, all right, we all one, we're all interconnected, but you have to have some type of discernment, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, authenticity, following your heart, because it be them vibes where these people invite me to these things, and my heart like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Not, and again, and that's how I knew it wasn't my mind, because I'm wondering, I'm like, you know, well, why am I always turning these people down? Do I have something against that situation or these people? It's like, nah. And then, you know, then I get into showing you how intuition works, because now I get to this information that opens up this door and let me know that I wasn't tripping the whole time. And that's why I do videos without fully doing research, to be honest with you, because I done saw my intuition be on point all my life, to be honest with you. Of course, you know, it's we have our little moments and our little days where it's not you know, the most on point that it could be. You know, we some days we allow the egoic mind to throw us off a little bit, but for the most part, you know, at least speaking for myself, like, and two, I know my intuitive voice, so no matter how loud my ego could, you know, get, in essence, that voice is just like, oh no, this is right, or, you know, not say right, but this is the, you know, this is the facts, this is the information right here. You might want to speak on this or deal with this, you know. So I get to see how, you know, how that energy of me feeling funny wasn't no speculation. You know, even down to, you know, I spoke on, in which I didn't get too into it at that time because I didn't know if I was tripping. Again, playing it safe. But like I think about the vibe of like where I had, you know, the acid trip with the brethrens, where it was basically the whole trip. We was like, I know for sure, like, well, kind of all of us, but we basically was going through a vibe of exposing agents, you know what I'm saying? And basically my brethren was trying to indirectly let me know, like, hey, my brethren, I know you're on the positive vibes, and, you know, Louisiana a little slow. It's like, man, this is a whole different little beast out here in LA, you know. But I again, and showing too, well, you know, with me having to learn from experience, like, you know, I ain't saying you're lying, but just some things I gotta see for myself, you know what I'm saying? And I got to see for myself, you know what I'm saying? So now it's undeniable. And when we talk about knowledge, you know, it's like where, you know, say for instance, these books talk, or this information talking about Laurel Canyon, the CIA, MK Ultra, LSD, you know, mind control, all this vibe, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, Tavistock Institute. Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. Exactly. Matter of fact, on campus. But yeah, I know I was gonna say something, but it's all, you know, it's all a game. Again, social engineering and creating a vibration of, you know, slaves that don't know they slaves, you know. Because when you look at the hippie vibe, you know what I'm saying, they sitting around, in essence, I could see too, like, all right, hippie vibe, like, well, they meditating seriously like yogis and sitting down and visualizing, you know, on a high level, like opening pioneers and teaching about visualization, but that ain't necessarily a hippie vibe. Hippie almost like, you know, sitting around taking acid, you know. Again, like what it was, I think it was a Timothy Leary message, like tune in, drop out, this and that, like, you know. Again, I can't think, I always forget how to actually quote it. But anyway, you know, it's that whole vibe. Like, as a matter of fact, and again, more so pointed at the you know, melanated man, because they don't care what like who get caught up in the crossfire, you know, on collateral damage. They just worried about trying to oppress melanated men, you know. So that's the whole thing. And again, this is not for no fear mongering or to feel like, oh, somebody out to get me. Like, no, you're just being aware of what's going on around you, Know that that's a counterculture fucking government operation. That's all you need to know. You just need to know that alligators bite. You don't have to be scared of alligators. Just know, hey, the alligator bite over there. When you go too close and your leg go missing, you know why. So it's, and again, like, well, these hippies, quote unquote, this vibe of like, again, seeming like picketing and stuff like that. And that's again, going back to the evidence, like with Martin Luther King, and the reason why they promoted him, because he wasn't teaching nobody about, hey, you're God on a human experience, and these people are trying to subconsciously program your mind. If he would have said that, or if he'd have been on some shit like that, we wouldn't even know who Martin Luther King is, But because, he was talking to us that they want to hear, just that, again, no knock to, I shade to, the king, but, they were using him at the beginning, and again, though, you see how he started to get hip to things, and he was about to switch it up, and that's when they came at him, And then, matter of fact, in America, had to admit that they was the ones who basically murked them. And matter of fact, in the manner where they kind of have it on document, but but it don't, it's like this country admit to murking somebody on some assassination shit, but nobody, is like, it's still like, all right, well, let's go to work and stuff. But then get mad at Kanye when he say when he say slavery is a choice. It's like, shit, you know what's going on, and don't, do what you gotta do. Because that's the thing, what you don't realize, like, you're so subconsciously programmed to, like, I gotta keep my job and this and that, what I'm gonna do. You do what our indigenous ancestors always did. You make it happen from off of the land or whatever resources you got. Things aren't scarce. They just giving you that idea because they don't want to see you. They know that you're going to break down the system the moment you start getting closer to your ancestors and your roots, to your culture, you know what I'm saying? So, again, that's the whole thing. It's like, and two, the hippie vibe making you feel like you're doing something. Like, oh, yeah, we're against the machine, this and that. But they really ain't doing shit or teaching shit. And again, as I'm saying, this is no knock to anybody who, deal with Grateful Dead and no knock to nobody who like the Beatles and all that, do what you do, I'm just speaking the truth about the situation, I'm not telling you how to live your life in that manner. And at any rate, I'm just speaking on, again. But it's always a situation to make you think you're doing something, to make you think you have some freedom when you really just, and to look at the effectiveness, all right, name one thing that being a hippie helped change name a law or something that being a hippie helped upraise, you know what I'm saying? Something real substantial that really means something to our freedom. Like not making sure animals, and there's no knock to, but all right, now you could conserve animals more, right? Yay for the animals. You know what I'm saying? No knock to that, but like as far as really getting some work done for humans, you know what I'm saying? Like physical body suits, you know what I'm saying? Really doing some work. You don't see, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just dry, like, hey man, let's smoke some weed and take some acid and this and that, and you sitting around not doing nothing, being demasculinized, over hugging everybody, just always namaste, man, this and that, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, as I'm saying this is not tagging like where everybody who vibes with this is exactly, say for instance, a person that's trying to oppress, again, this is a counterculture. They created a culture, so that means people, again, collateral damage, even some some white people in the situation and didn't really know or don't really know what's going on, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't give a fuck about nobody at the end of the day. It's like, we aiming to fuck over these melanated people. Whoever get in the way or stand in the way, it is what it is, Matter of fact, shout out to Jane Elliott, for being somebody, matter of fact, Jane Elliott probably got that neuromelanin popping, may not be visible, but she definitely hold it down. But again, the counterculture vibes is to, at least that one was to make you feel like, like you was doing something, man. Like, yeah, man, we would take acid, man, and we would sit out in front and just pick it, man, and this and that, and like, all right, well, what did you do anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, what laws did you get uplifted or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, as I'm saying this is not like every aspect of helping to open this world up to spirituality more. It's different approaches and it's different strokes for different folks. But again, that straight up Beatles, Grateful Dead, hippie vibe, it's like it was trying to create, some fake rebels, but rebels against nothing, rebels without a cause. As a matter of fact, like that, and you see what little terminology like that, I'm pretty sure that's a social engineering terminology. And that's the thing, like, where somebody from, Tavistock Institute, tell the little group that they over, hey, say the word rebel without a cause in this song, Matter of fact, make the hook rebel without a cause, rebel without a cause, rebel without a cause. Because another thing too, subconscious programming, repetition, and making these tunes. Matter of fact, you wonder why some Beatles songs or, Grateful Dead or some of these songs where it just feel like you probably can't get them out your head or something like that. It's because they was working with people who studied, mind control, MK Ultra, with Operation Wormwood, dealing with matter of fact, I don't know if it's an operation for sure, but I know Wormwood was the name of the show on Netflix, where it was, exposing how like one of the brethren in them early experiments, killed itself. Because that's another thing when you look up a lot of these rock bands and stuff like that, where they parents in the army and stuff like that, or in certain little important areas of the army and stuff like that, or might end up after so long committing suicide. Like, these are no coincidences. But again, the counterculture and all these people in cahoots. You see J.P. Morgan funding what is the brethren, I think, Skinner with the Skinner box. You know what I'm saying? I did a video about Skinner and Aldous Huxley, but J.P. Morgan putting money in that little area. Matter of fact, he even put money in like dealing with Nikola Tesla. But when he found out Tesla was opening people up to free energy, he was like, oh no, I ain't funding that. And on some shit, end up wrecking his lab as well, like on some, let me send you a little message about how we feel about making free energy, And these are all people who in this society, when it comes to the media or certain things, like they praise, like, oh, J.P. Morgan was one of the most smartest, this and that. Talking about the guy who stopped Tesla from showing us that we could have free energy. You talking about that person? You know what I'm saying? Or Christopher Columbus sailed to this and that. It's like, and indirectly, that's like social engineering. Like just create, well, and more so, I ain't gonna say social engineering, more so just subconscious programming in general. Again, social engineering would be like, all right, I know that I want to create a certain type of car in the future, a car that's gonna, pollute it's gonna pollute in a secretive way. So I want to create a car that's gonna pollute the air, but without people knowing, because I'm trying to fuck over people. So and I own all kind of shit. And if I don't have my own movie studio and stuff like that, my brethren or somebody in the family got on a movie place to film movies. So I let my brethren know, like, hey man, put in your movies, people overbuying. And matter of fact, and then also talk to my other Tavistock Institute brethren and be like, hey, this little rock group you over, tell them to make a song talking about this, about having this type of car, you know what I'm saying? And like, as they're, again, social engineering, they engineering, the social scene in essence, manufacturing like what's cool and what's not, and more so in the favors of oppressing people and putting people in a type of dystopia where, they think they're free and seem like they're free in their minds to a certain, in which, even with that, a lot of people know they ain't, but anyway, where you have the illusion of being free when you really, being enslaved. But, yeah, it's just, one big setup. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. So I would make the movies, and put it in music songs, like, hey, talk about riding my such and such car, matter of fact, like, say for instance, like, which I'm not saying Tesla cars pollute or nothing secretly, but let's just say, like, where, again, because that's how they work, you been in cahoots with whatever movie company, like, hey man, y'all, I'm creating this car, I'm already getting the blueprints out, it's gonna come out in the next 30 years, but start making movies and videos and stuff like that about it right now. So once I started, it's just subconsciously programming people's mind. They won't even think twice of it because they don't even know or see where they're being programmed from, because it's so subtle and constant, you know what I'm saying? You don't really peep it out, But I think of like the social engineering vibe of like, matter of fact, while I was out in LA, certain people like over hugging, like, oh man, I love you, man, and this and that. And, I was getting hugs, being told like, man, I love you on this high level. And I'm saying, all right, you love me like this. And I'm seeing people come through and they done been to your house and stuff like that, but you ain't never invited me to your house. But I love you so much, Universal. I love you, you know what I'm saying? And, and two, I started to realize too, how they kind of got me where, where certain vibes, like, again, like MK Ultra, where they do a certain thing to activate certain, energies inside of you, you know what I'm saying? And they had kind of, matter of fact, like, I wasn't in the sunken place fully, but they was working on trying to get me there. But I noticed, like, with that super I love you vibe and this and that, like, I could feel myself like almost snapping into a docile place, even knowing that I'm like, man, something feel funny or something, going on. But I was still kind of snap into a more docile place. And then now looking back, I'm like, bro, that was some fucking social engineering, bro. They almost, man, you know what I'm saying? And again, no, to be diplomatic, I'm not saying no names, If you know of my experience in LA and who I was dealing with, then you may know what I'm talking about or whatever. If not, again, just start to realize, matter of fact, people giving out Om hugs, not to say every Om hug is demonic. I'm just letting you know how social engineering work and who's social engineering. This is Europeans who are racist and want to oppress melanated people. So they're directing that energy towards towards melanated people, and in disguise of all peace, my brother, love, it's like, and I had to be in this situation again, learning from experience, like actually seeing, because of course, I know of people being fake and stuff like that, and like I started doing videos on an intuitive level, telling, talking about how, the KKK is no longer gonna walk around with hoodies and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They gonna own a crystal shop, or it's a chess game. It's not gonna be, if I'm really trying to get at you, I'm gonna really try to not let you know what move. You're not gonna know that my bishop about to come across the board and get your queen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm setting you up to where you won't even see it coming. You know what I'm saying? Which is the whole vibe behind a dystopia. Again, you know what I'm saying? Equilibrium was another one I think of. Matter of fact, this vibe of like we gotta make everybody dull in order to stop crime. Now crime has stopped, existing. And matter of fact, showing you the dystopia of what America kind of would be in essence, where it's like we're fighting against terrorism, but they the main terrorists. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we haven't had a war in so long, but the reason why you ain't had no war, because you're first forcing people to take a certain medicine, and you're killing anybody who do or say otherwise. That's why you don't have no war. So you're still being violent as fuck. It's just in a manner where you're able to disguise it and again create this little falsehood of dystopia. Like we really helping the people in society. We're divergent. We're making a better society by picking out what's your most favorable thing to do, and this and that. It's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Again, this vibe of dystopia and allowing for you to, have a certain level of quote unquote freedom, are just enough so you don't really know that you are a slave, because the fact that a lot of people now think, that they're free just because they don't have shackles on them, is an example of that. Here it is that you feel like you can't save your family and step up to the plate, and like where certain things spiritual that you got to do that may mean quitting your job or something like that. Your job, and again, not knocking people that work or none of this, but again, whenever you let anything override, your soul or the source within, you know what I'm saying? It's like, giving in or being a slave or worshiping whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm like say for instance, I'm telling source I don't believe in source by always carrying a gun as if somebody could, take my life in that manner. Of course I'm in the physical realm, and it's different things that could happen, but again, it's like by having the gun is almost like saying, God, source, I don't trust you. I don't trust divine order. I don't trust none of that. I trust this gun gonna save me. Not you, source. This gun. Now, of course, we could say, well, source is everything. It's that gun too. Put it like this: everything is in divine order, whether it's a bullet or choking on a cookie or whatever the case may be. When it's our time to transition, this is our time to transition. So any vibe of you thinking that you could preserve, anything in a manner like with a gun, it's like you're not and that's why you see where most situations where people just kind of just have a gun and don't really get into anything. Matter of fact, and that's showing you there, like where the source within, showing you how the source within you works. Where here it is, you got a gun, or like with my dad, collect guns all his life, or gotta be this and that. But at the end of the day, did he have to use that gun? It was paranoia or fear disguised as, oh, well, I just love guns, Like, nah, it's a paranoia and fear disguised as a love for guns. A bunch of shitload of guns that, you didn't get to use, and you would only get to use if you provoke situations that, you know what I'm saying? Again, because you see that vibe where, it's like it's it's a gray area with that, you know, because of course, you know, dealing with a gun in essence is like, you know, almost uh like saying, all right, shoot out, come on over here, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is, it's like you're inviting it to you, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, it is a balance, because if you have it but you're not constantly fearing that something gonna happen, then nothing will happen, you know. So, you know, it is a balance with that vibe. But again, you see, ultimately though, that's just about your God energy. That the gun ain't necessarily save you or stop anything. It's just more so, you know, the source within yourself. But again, everywhere with it. But the dystopian vibes, and matter of fact, go check out Aldous Huxley, ALDOUSHUXLEY. A Brave New World, I think, is one of his novels, and that was another like dystopian vibe. You know, where people would tap out on this little, I don't know if it's like something called, like a drug called Soma or something like that. Matter of fact, trying to get an indirect connection to the Soma, like the spiritual Soma. But anyway, matter of fact, programming you with that. But where it was like some type of chemical or drug that people just like, you know, tune in and tune out with, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, bam. So you see that little correlation, like Aldous Huxley, you know, presenting this dystopian vibe, you know, like of people taking drugs, and, you know, these drugs is having them in this mode where they're not really caring about their freedom and stuff like that. Social engineering, they make movies, you constantly watching these movies and not knowing what's going on. That's becoming your normal thing, like you falling into the vibe of going along with whatever they putting on the TV, you know what I'm saying? Socially constructing, you know, society, you know, like, cause here it is, the world loves the beat, and I always kind of felt like that too, more so about Grateful Dead. I'm like, cause I have kind of come across some of these songs, and I'm still like, I'm like, you know, I don't get it, you know, like really, like I'm like, I don't see where it's at, you know. And matter of fact, and I done took acid and connecting with all these different songs and stuff like that, and realizing too why I felt certain vibes from certain songs, as far as like where it's like I felt like the CIA had, or not say, well, in essence, pushed through the Tavistock Institute and into these bands, but, you know, certain melodies and stuff like that, you know, programming certain energies. Cause matter of fact, when we think about, they had a song, it was on like a Pokemon for Game Boy, like when it first came out, and it was just in Japan. They had a song in one of the little cities, you know, because like Ash Ketchum could go through the different cities to fight different Pokemon trainers, but they had one city that Pewter City, I can't remember the name, but like on the little board on the game, it had like a type of song that was just so, how could I say, strong on mind control, or influencing the person. Well, a lot of people had committed suicide, you know, just from listening to that song or whatever, you know. So you see how, you know, again, how the energies and vibrations of sound, you know, control and do certain things. I've had certain wavelengths, you know what I'm saying, and certain hertz, 428 hertz has a certain effect, you know what I'm saying. That's why they try to throw off the music with 440 hertz, you know. Matter of fact, if you look up they got a little meme that'll show like 440 hertz and show how and show the somatics of 444 hertz and how it's a little distorted, but like how to clean the vibration, I can't remember if it's 417, because it's two different ones for the 400. But anyway, and they show the clearer vibration and how the somatics is more, you know, clear and more, matter of fact, symmetrical in essence, you know. So you see that direct correlation with, you know, the energy of sound affecting situations. Matter of fact, they social engineering the Kingsman, the movie Kingsman, you know, like what they had the vibe where Samuel Jackson was the evil guy, and he had put some type of technology into the phones where at a certain moment a satellite would create a certain frequency in these phones that would make people flash out and start killing each other. As matter of fact, also with social engineering, promoting agendas, and the Infinity Wars with Thanos is promoting population control, creating a certain idea of like we gotta get rid of so many people for the rest to survive, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, this is an infinite motherfucking plane, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't gotta kill nobody, you know what I'm saying? And then you look at matter of fact, because that's another thing, they under the illusion, like, are creating this illusion of like, oh, we running out of land and resources and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, that's a fucking lie. Matter of fact, because you got this situation with Codex. Go look up this situation or this operation or whatever. Codex Alimentarius. It's spelled Codex, C-O-D-E-X, Alimentarius, A-L-I-M-E-N-T-A-R-I-U-S. Matter of fact, as you look up this, man, it's important to tell others to check this out. And matter of fact, it'll also lead to talking about Agenda 21. Basically the United Nations plans to, basically collapse the dollar and replace it with the New World Order currency. Reduce the world population, and they do it through matter of fact, because that's another thing what the ancestors strong about right now, like speaking on abortion, like in that whole vibe, and you see like America eats its babies, from pedophilia, and child molestation, to abortions, just all ways of just showing that it don't give a fuck about, and just fucking over the kids' energies, you know what I'm saying? Like putting kids in these school systems that they know is not really beneficial for their soul growth, you know what I'm saying? You sit in the school and never learn about your chakras. Here it is where, it's almost like giving a car to somebody and not teaching them how to drive their car, you know what I'm saying? Just be like, well, here this car, I'm gonna teach you about all kind of other stuff. Here this car, but I'm gonna teach you about all kind of other stuff. All I'm gonna tell you about this car, that pedal is the gas and that pedal is the brake. Have fun. It's like, so the reason why, people wrecking their vehicles, you know what I'm saying? People wrecking their vehicles because they don't know the full potential of their vehicle and how to fully operate their vehicle. I always speak about that, like with visualization techniques and stuff like the Kashara Mudra, putting our tongue right there, like all these different technologies within the body, like just holding my hands like this, create a certain energetic connection, learning about your vehicle and why is it that my vehicle is what I'm in and so important, but yet they don't tell me shit about it in my beginning stages of my life. They don't tell me how important it is to meditate and eat healthy. They don't tell me that fluoride is calcifying my pineal gland and that non-GMO foods is unhealthy for me, you know what I'm saying? If anything, they pushing these GMO foods on me and pushing all this, so it's like, you could only look at the actions and see like, all right, damn, they really still trying to kill her, as if it was slavery, you know what I'm saying? But again, go look up this Codex Alimentarius, and Agenda 21, and again, social engineering, Infinity Wars, adding to that vibe of like, because too, they know a lot of people, say for instance, what it also keys in on, people on their spiritual growth right now, and a lot of people doing their shadow work, and with shadow work, we in that place of accepting, the darkness within, accepting our negative aspects, but with say for instance the story of Thanos and the way it displayed, you could easily fall into a vibe of thinking like, all right, it's all right for me to be, like negative in the sense of like the government, you know what I'm saying, and kill off the population for the sake of something, you know what I'm saying? But basically like giving you this false sense of shadow self to embrace, like, well, yeah, like you should embrace depopulating the world, you know what I'm saying? Now, of course, I should accept the fact that, oppressing people that want to depopulate the world, is a part of me as a whole, that exists, potentially I could have been one of those people that's, oppressing people, but I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So it's again, that vibe of like, well, I'm, embracing, the fact that certain negative aspects exist, certain lower nature exists, but it doesn't mean you're going through the motions of it to embrace it. Like, I know deep down somewhere inside of me, that a serial killer exists. But again, it's accepting that serial killer within. That doesn't mean to accept that serial killer within, I gotta go kill some people. There's a difference, you know what I'm saying? That's the vibe that they be promoting with some of these characters, is to promote, like, they disguise the shadow self into the agenda that they dealing with, you know what I'm saying? So basically, making the shadow self in alignment with, depopulation, or, making your shadow self in alignment with, like, oh yeah, I support abortions, that's just my dark side. Like, no, my brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to get you to be into that, trick you into that type of mind frame, And well, I'm just, embracing the darkness. As a matter of fact, I caught myself kind of going through that stage of, wondering, like, all right, is this like, my real shadow work, or is this some shit they trying to, promote me to embrace, you know what I'm saying? Like, being aware of that. Yeah, Agenda 21, you go look that up too. And again, using abortion, forced sterilization, toxic air, water, food, medication, and vaccines. Matter of fact, and it's been in motion since the Bush 1 administration and down to Obama. Well, Obama actually, signed the paperwork to pass the Food Safety Act. I tell people, I'm like, of course it's good on the subconscious, because again, that speaks to that vibe of where, the chaotic spread, or the divine chaotic spread of melanin, where is even spreading into areas, just everywhere. It's not discriminating on the areas that is going into. And, with Obama being president, it has a positive vibe on a social, or not social, subconscious programming of the fact that, little kids, you know what I'm saying, especially little melanated kid, grew up into a world where you actually saw, a melanated leader, regardless of, from the position of where it's fuckery in that position, they really trying to kill you, whatever. But it's like, at least the subconscious, was allowed to see that, you know what I'm saying? Get a different perspective, because if you're, again, if you constantly seeing, a certain leader that's only one way, you even walk around in this world like, where you feel like authority figures is the people who you always see as being placed as authority figures in your face, which is old white men. So, it's like, because of the Congress and all this, so when you come across it in your day, you kind of get like a good old boy, so, and start to, fall into that vibe, because it's social programming, or should I say subconscious programming, but that's basically it. But yeah, population control with Thanos. And matter of fact, here it is with the Orson Welles, in 1938, with the War of Worlds radio broadcast, where they caused, people to panic and, break out, because basically they had, went on the radio and created this little situation that sounded like a real space invasion, And what they were doing is, matter of fact, because one of the ways that they justify, like, well, we gotta keep secrets and this and that, because if we told the public what was going on, they would freak out and this and that, and and more so, again, you see how spiritual lessons apply even to the government bullshit, where like, say for instance, how we talk about like on our spiritual growth, you know, people project their energy onto you. So it's like they projecting their fear onto the people, like, well, you know, people going like, no, that's your fearful ass that's disconnected from your spirit, that's gonna be scared and fearful and, you know, and panic and try to kill everything and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's you and your fearful way of being that's gonna be like that. Don't push that shit on me because you have a problem with, you know, tapping into the God within yourself. But basically, that's how they use, you know, again, the justification for secrets. You know, it's like, well, you know, everybody might go crazy and this and that, you know. As a matter of fact, I caught the download as I came across this, that they were testing out people to see if they were, basically to see if the fear mongering of the Hollywood movies, you know, had programmed people good enough. So basically, you know, with Orson Welles doing that War of the Worlds and faking that alien invasion, was like, all right, let's see if our social engineering been working. You know, we've been making all these different movies, you know, about, you know, alien invasion, stuff like that. Let's see if we really, you know, got the people's minds. So it's like, do this broadcast and, you know, get to see. Matter of fact, and you get to see like this whole thing is just an experiment. Like, well, America is like a big Skinner box. And all these people who deal with this, you know, again, is in cahoots in essence. You know, like, you just being tested on some like little experiment, like Pavlov's dog. When I ring this bell, you know, at school, you know, when they're at school, and as I say, ring a bell, doom, 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 doom. Even on the college level, you know, it's like Pavlov's dogs. Pavlov's dogs. You know, big experiment. You know, so again, you know, they were testing out to see, you know, if all the little Hollywood social engineering stuff was, you know, was working. And since they saw that some people, you know, were panicking and stuff like that, they're like, all right, we got enough of them. Let's keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is all, you know, all stuff, you know, you go look it up, it's right there in your face, you know what I'm saying? Like, in fact, again, I always go check out this book, as a matter of fact, and this brethren's YouTube channel, Jay Dyer. Getting into depth with all these names, places, again, like, you know, Laurel Canyon, you know, matter of fact, and how movies be, again, showing you what they doing indirectly, you know, like with our eyes wide shut, you know, but just all these situations that, you know, that's showing you how they blink, you know, blatantly, you know, trying to fuck over you. But let's see. Yeah, so basically with that little Orson Welles experiment, it basically also was used as a vibe of like, you see, people panic and stuff like that, they all crazy, you know, so we can't, you know. And I like to see the numbers are like what area, like if they show the, like, people from what part of the United States, like on what levels fell victim to that broadcast, like being scared that aliens was really coming. I like to see that paperwork. That would give me some insight about certain shit. Cause like you would know, like, all right, if it's in a certain area where it's close to an army base or something like that, like an area or two where like they saying these people freaked out and stuff like that, you know, and not to say that nobody did, but it could have also been, you know, a lot of manufactured stuff too. So maybe some people panicked, but then they also had a little area where they, you know, paid actors to like hey, overreact, stuff like this. As a matter of fact, speaking of paid actors, you know, like dealing with you know, the Beatles, they paid little female actors to, like, you know, be in certain little places and, oh, the Beatles, you know what I'm saying? Like that whole vibe, you know. Matter of fact, again, back to J.P. Morgan with this, with I forgot the brother's first name, Skinner, with the Skinner box. Matter of fact, let me see if I don't have that quote with me. basically is a Aldous Huxley quote. As a matter of fact, again, I did a video on this. The video I did on dystopia, I speak on that Aldous Huxley quote. But you just see is all this fear mongering and social engineering, programming your subconscious. Cause again, that's where the work is at. Like at the end of the day, it's about getting your subconscious back, programming your subconscious and not letting. Because if you don't program your subconscious, somebody else will. You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole thing. And you start to see like we're all magic. It's about programming. Then you start to see like we're constantly talking about magic, and it just always points to our subconscious mind and how it manifests into the physical realm. So it's like you see the correlation. It's undeniable. But yeah, that's. Matter of fact, let me just see if I can find this quote right quick. Might be with me, might not be. Nope, I don't have it with me. But I did the video already. If you look at my video on dystopias that I did recently, it'll be the quote will be in there. Again, back to the basis of this, these people, running all these programs, they got something against melanated people. As a matter of fact, again, experiencing being in LA, I got to see firsthand, brethren and sisters coming at me trying to make me docile, trying like, oh, well, I don't see color, man, and we just should all just, man, it's so stupid, and it's like, oh no, yeah, we should be more peaceful with each other, but I don't have to blindly walk around being inauthentic about peace, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, we all want peace, but I don't have to get along with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I love you unconditionally, but I don't have to agree with you, you know what I'm saying? Just because I don't agree with you don't mean I hate you or, or I don't love you, know what I'm saying? Like, it's all love, But again, because you'll see too, indirectly, you start to see how like we speak on being authentic, how that hippie vibe is creating like almost like this dull, like everybody the same type of person. Like, yeah, we all just want to hug, where you start to see the energy of how it's a real tactic. Because look at it, like, well, how much we talk about us being here and being unique. Like, well, what really allows for us to expand is us being, different and unique. Not all of us being the same and be like, as everything turn. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's on this same exact vibe, man. Let's get on this same exact vibe, man. We all gonna have this way of talking, man. We all gonna, look the same and act the same, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a little hippie. Matter of fact, I could only relate to what I could hear off of songs. I think about Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump, matter of fact, just playing that little area of time a lot, and Forrest Gump, which, man, I'm gonna have to get into, that vibe. Matter of fact, shout out to Brother Panic. I didn't realize how fun it is breaking down movies and getting into this part of the information. Like, it's real fun. Matter of fact, until I go with the flow of things as much as, which I'm starting to get back and making more crystal videos again, because more so though, not forcefully doing it. Like, we're working with the crystals. I'm getting these downloads of like, hey, bro, because you're working with me, I'm doing this for you, or, I'm doing it. So I'm catching these little downloads about the crystals and stuff, but like, I'm really enjoying this vibe with like breaking down the movies and stuff like that. And reason why I'm enjoying it, because it has some truth to it, and it's really, just some really aha type of, like information, like, definitely loving it. But basically, matter of fact, over here, LSU for homecoming. In fact, LSU got the two Indian mounds. They speak on that little personification in movies. Like how the movie The Shining. Where that hotel, that haunted hotel is built on some Indian mounds. But all these different movies where they, might have things take place on these ancient, and I say Indians. Excuse my diction for look, just letting the program slide out of myself, and you see how that works. But these indigenous mounds or whatever, these places that the natives were in, and that they take, and matter of fact, and build a university over, like basically rape and pillage, and basically like where a movie like The Shining, like it's the microcosm. It gives you a view of the macrocosm within the microcosm. So you could say, for instance, like Jack Nicholson character could personify America as a whole. So you could see like how one person on a micro level represents something bigger on the macro level. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of movies will be like that. Just that whole hotel being haunted and stuff like that represented, America as a whole. And that whole haunting vibration of taking the natives' land and using that energy. It's basically the same thing, again, personified in The Shining and different movies, and then you see it around, the world, like, again, like this campus right here, got the native, the native mounds right in the middle, and making sure, like, hey, protect our, as if LSU, actually put those mounds there, like protect our mounds and this and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, who mounds? But, and again, though, just be aware of these vibes, it's trying to, create this docile, you know what I'm saying? And again, I done went through it firsthand. I done saw the mix and how real it get, you know what I'm saying? It's not but with any and all things, that I do videos on, you take what resonates, leave what don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not me trying to socially engineer you or socially, subconsciously program you. I mean, indirectly, I'm subconsciously programming. I gotta keep it real about that. I'm creating beneficial subconscious programming. Like something for you to watch repetitiously, or deal with repetitiously, or that's gonna program your mind in a beneficial way. But that's basically it. Just realizing, again, the counterculture vibes, creating a vibe to make you think you're free, to make you think that what you're doing is really helping and changing things, when it's really not. Like, hey, come on out of your community, from helping your the people in your community and stuff like that, and come in the in the forest, and come take acid with us, and hug trees all day and not do nothing to really help society. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, because again, what they feed it off of too, like how the vibe is, it is a reality that it's not our first and foremost obligation to, like, oh, I gotta just save the world and save everybody. No, you save the world by saving yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you work on yourself and get your cup to run it over, so you could pour other people's cups up. But again, they create this vibe of like, well, no, you gotta just be like more so I was about to word it. Apologies, y'all. It'll come back. In fact, it probably zapping me. But it was something. It'll come back. But or maybe that's it. Maybe, you know, that's why I like. That's where the live video will come in handy. Like, hey y'all, what I just. Yeah. But again, that tune out, drop out. You know what I'm saying? Like again, instead of being, well, I know I was talking to that a little bit. Like instead of being in your they prey on that fact of like, all right, you know, that matter of fact, and you see a lot of spiritual teachings promote you to just up and leave your family like on a super dry mode, like just like, well, if they're not vibrating on the same exact frequency, I just gotta leave them completely the hell alone, you know, forcing you to, in essence, to abandon your family, and again, to you know, become a deadhead. You know, it's social engineering right there. That's a little terminology, a deadhead, man, and you know, vibe with us, you know, on this journey again. Not knocking people, cause I know brethren and sisters that, in essence, you know, that's not that they've been pulled into the social engineering. Let's just say that, you know, they not necessarily, but what you start to see that, like how that social engineering is an agent within itself, so that the fact that, you know, say for instance a person would, how I say, a person that don't want to be brainwashed and mind controlled, you know, even though they don't want to be like that, the fact that they are, you know, they still gonna deliver. So basically, like indirectly, a walking recruiting system for the government now, you know, like, cause now the CIA don't have to, and that's why I guess I caught the vibe that, well, some people I felt like they were agents but not agents. I think that's where I caught that vibe from, was like, you know, they pushing this agent agenda, but they're not an actual CIA agent, in, you know, per se, in essence, you know, like where they just you know, again, programmed by the stuff. And if I'm programmed, you know, just like our parents, you know, if they program to the bullshit that the government deal with, they program us, you know what I'm saying? So they basically working for the government without working for the government, you know what I'm saying? You see how that vibe trickles down, you know what I'm saying? And getting things to a level of by majority, you know, that's what the Catholic Church is trying to do. If you know, if after Constantine, you know, got into the Bible and took out the Apocrypha, all this, you know, and do all this, it's like, if we get enough of people, you know, to believe in this, you know, it could fire off into the collective, and we could actually create this reality and control people with this fake Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Like, the whole vibe. So, and you start to see when matter of fact, with Gil Scott Heron talk about day and night, they working to fuck over you, day and night. Like, he had that little poem, like, cause literally, like, every second, you know, every movie created has some interest in socially engineering you, you know, point blank period, you know. Matter of fact, somebody was talking about how, you know, they were surprised that the Malcolm X movie, you know, showed as much as it showed on a non-programming type of level, you know. Spike Lee was able to squeeze a little thing, you know. Same thing with the Nat Turner movie, you know. It had its programming vibe, but it also had its vibe of, like, you know, opening up things as well. Because again, you start to see, just like with the Bible, like, you know, the Bible has a tremendous level of programming and, you know, manipulation of, you know, text and words and stuff like that, but it does have truths in it, and if you know how to read it, you could get aha moments and learn, you know what I'm saying, and grab something from it. Just like with these movies, where, you know, a lot of them in essence made to socially program you, you know, or subconsciously program, but if you know what you're dealing with and how to deal with it, you know, you won't, you know what I'm saying, you could benefit from the information that is enlightening you in a beneficial manner from the movie, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's all on how you deal with it, but it's having the awareness of what's going on to be able to deal with it in a proper manner, you know. And that's why, you know, High Self, you know, Source got me doing these videos heavily about this, you know. Matter of fact, and y'all go look these things up, you know, Laurel Canyon, CIA, the MK Ultra, you know, LSD, you know, Albert Hoffman, you know, Aldous Huxley, you know, Plato in the Republic, you know, that book, Plato's Cave, you know, All these different things, Mulholland Drive and the Manson murders, you know what I'm saying? Like all this has a connection. No coincidence. Matter of fact, with this brother named Roman Polanski, who had a connection, I think, with some of these little rock and roll bands, and he also was married to Sharon Tate, one of the women who got killed by in the Manson murders vibes. And then, matter of fact, and then Polanski himself was forced to flee the U.S. over sexual abuse allegations. You just see the non-coincidental vibe of like wherever you find these people, you find children getting harmed. You find some type of social engineering going on in these little areas. It's no coincidence. But I wasn't even trying to do no hour-long video. Like literally, I just was like, all right, I'm gonna pop this video off before I go to, because matter of fact, I'm walking to go to the little tailgating area, it's like, let me do a video right quick. Matter of fact, showing it, like, it ain't important for me to, matter of fact, to be in this little battle, because it ain't nothing but Roman shit anyway. Like, these football players, matter of fact, like Candyland, if y'all ever watched Django, these two melanated brothers, fighting to the death, while the rich white man just sitting there like, oh, get them such and such, get them cowboys, get them, what it is, I'm trying to think of a name, get them, what's his name, Lawrence Taylor, get them such and such, get them Ray Lewis, get them, you know what I'm saying, like Candyland, and I think of Candyland, I think of the Cowboys team, cause even down to him having a comment recently, well, matter of fact, and when your third eye open too, you start to see past the bullshit that society tries to pass shit as, and you just, all you could see is like what's really going on, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see the true energetic exchange of like, damn, like Jared Jones is like on some, he was this close from just saying I'm still a slave master, like, like I own you on that level, but like, well, like he had a comment where my players are gonna kneel down, my players, my means ownership, that's why too with our own little stuff, like, like my brethren, my mom, my dad, of course, to explain stuff, is like, you say my in essence, but we want to get away from using my as much as possible, because you don't own anything, everything is you, and you don't own yourself, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, you are yourself, you don't own it, like with that Candyland vibe, like my players better, kneel down for that anthem, and again, social engineering. If you as a little kid, you see melanated people get oppressed, get shot down, stuff like that, and then you still see them being docile and being on one knee and bowing down to the oppression, then you gonna think it's cool, you're gonna fall in line with the oppressive vibes, like, well, all right, shit, my people giving in to this bullshit, even though I feel it's wrong in my heart, and in essence know it's wrong in my, that's what I see, so I'm just falling in line with it, and you see the importance of us breaking the mold. Like, now is the vibrate, like, I keep it real about myself, not, boycotting certain situations, but, start moving in the direction of doing our best, you know what I'm saying? For me, I was already good. I didn't stop watching football already, you know what I'm saying? So matter of fact, what's funny, when that shit happened with Kaepernick, I wasn't watching football no more anyway, so I wasn't feeding into the the system and giving them their little ratings that they get from like when you watching a football game, they actually get revenue, because they picking up on you watching it, and that's how they let revenue fall. The more revenue they get, the more they're able to do shit and expand on their hold on the media, and the more they get to manipulate and control people, and give people the illusion of sports but as a, call it sports, was really just another way of, gladiator, like being a gladiator. Like you look at Greece, as a matter of fact, like the Roman Empire, where they praised the Colosseum, matter of fact, like how we got the pyramids is lined up with Orion's belt and, this cosmic thing. And again, it's not saying one person better than the other, just bullshitting about it in general. It's like all this, and then, this vibe of praising a stadium. But, even down to, again, where you got this gladiator-like stadium. When you look at the stadiums now, like it's like a gladiator, you go look at the picture of the Colosseums in Rome and look at matter of fact, at Tiger Stadium, and you're going to see the correlation, you know what I'm saying? Where these brethren, out there getting it in, to the fight to the death, and they only serve master whenever they fight. Like, John Candy, was like, oh yeah, you a good boy, such and such, after that little fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, you good. You still gotta go back outside and sleep with the mother niggas, you know what I'm saying, and this and that, but boy, you's a good boy. You fought good today, old boy, and when you at your best, I might, let you sleep in the house, or stay in this neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? That same vibe, and again, it's becoming strong about us acknowledging this. Because again, back to the counterculture thing, the whole counterculture thing is to create a vibe where people not bringing up these issues. Where it's like, well, oh man, we don't want to, and it's a balance, because I do see the energetic work of you don't want to, like we do manifest things with our thoughts, so you don't want to be fear-mongered by a certain thing, and you don't want to like constantly be focusing on something that isn't beneficial, to your spiritual growth. But at the same time, and I say, but at the same time, acknowledging what is, in order to, because again, what's the first thing you do to get rid of alcoholism? This lets you know how you take care of a problem, and it's not by ignoring it. How do you stop yourself from being on alcohol? Do you ignore the problem and say, well, maybe if I ignore it, it'll disappear? Or does the first thing to quit doing alcohol is to acknowledge and say, hi, my name is such and such, and I'm an alcoholic? You know what I'm saying? Acknowledge what's going, like, hey, I'm America, and I'm a racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, now we could work. All right, so now that we know what the problem is, let's start working on it. But, because of the fact that, nobody, like, well, acknowledging, you know what I'm saying, it's like, well, the problem just gets pushed to the side and turns into repressed energy, shadow energy. Matter of fact, shadow energy that's personified in a movie like Shining, like where those ghosts and stuff like that, that's haunting and stuff like that, is that repressed shadow energy of all that bullshit, all the pedophilia, all the killing the indigenous people, all that, you know what I'm saying, and just turn the other cheek, like let's just namaste and take acid and go hug a redwood tree, you know what I'm saying? It's like trying to get you to tune out from, helping yourself and your community in that sense, you know what I'm saying? Because if you out, way in the woods, just all the time, and again, ain't nothing wrong with it. You start to see too, like, where you just gotta be balanced in your vibe, because just because they using nature to manipulate and pull you in doesn't mean to get in that vibe of like to hate nature or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, ain't nothing wrong with going to nature. Matter of fact, I hug trees like almost every other, like I say, whenever I get the chance and catch the vibe, I'm hugging trees, and but again, that ain't just all I'm doing though. I'm not sitting around and just hugging the tree and just thinking that, me sitting and hugging that tree is gonna stop help change the world for the better in that sense. It's me being the change I want to see, and the change I want to see is people not blindly running away from situations, and you want to see a world where we acknowledge, again, like shadow work, acknowledge these negative energies that exist within us, and work on them, transmute them, you know what I'm saying? because whenever you suppress energy, suppression turns into, you know, unconscious energy. So, you know, people who sexually repress themselves, you know, they repress themselves so long that it gets into an unconscious mode of wanting to rape or molest or, you know, get into pedophilia. You know what I'm saying? This is exact, you know, not only spiritual psychology, but just psychology in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever you run from energy that creates, you know, shadow energy that's still there and that's still haunting you, you know what I'm saying? And the only way to, you know, grow from it is to acknowledge it, you know, to shine a light on that shadow, you know, so it can no longer exist, you know, the whole vibe. But again, you know, just being aware of the social engineering vibe. Matter of fact, so, and this probably, you know, answer a lot of questions for people who might have like, oh, so that's why universal don't never want to do this meditation or this drum circle, this and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I done learned some stuff while in LA. Just say that. Nah, you know, you don't want to just jump in every drum circle and hold hands with every person that just claims to be, you know, spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have discernment. You know? Part of loving yourself is being aware of your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Like, love yourself. You know what I'm saying? And loving myself is making sure nobody harms me. You know. And if there are people that's trying to, you know, harm, then, you know what I'm saying, I have to, you know, be in a certain place to be aware of that. You know what I'm saying? Not fear-mongering myself on it or about it, but again, just the, you know, awareness. But that's basically it, y'all. Peace. Happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now, remember to, you know, look up some of these names that I put in this video, stuff like that, you know. Go look it up for yourself, you know. Do your own research. Go check it out. Peace.